Every entrepreneur thinks they've got the next big thing, but what if the real test isn't your pitch deck, your prototype, or your investor meetings, but a 30-day crowdfunding campaign watched by strangers on the internet? We're talking about a funding model that has collectively raised over $17 billion globally, launched household names, and also quietly buried thousands of ideas that never shipped a single unit. Crowdfunding exploded into the cultural conversation somewhere around 2012, when Kickstarter campaigns started making headlines faster than Silicon Valley term sheets could be signed. The logic felt almost too clean. Put your idea in front of real people, and if they vote with their wallets, you've got proof that the market wants what you're building. But here's where the story gets complicated, because proof of demand and proof of a sustainable business are two very different animals. You can run a wildly successful campaign and still go completely broke trying to fulfill the orders you just promised to 5,000 excited strangers. Think of crowdfunding like a trailer for a movie. It can generate enormous hype, but a packed opening weekend doesn't tell you whether the film actually holds together once people are sitting in the seats. The campaign is the sizzle, and the sizzle is absolutely not the steak. The optimism of the early crowdfunding era was intoxicating. Platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo were being called the democratization of capital, and in many ways, they genuinely were. But somewhere between the dream and the delivery, a pattern emerged where backers became beta testers for products that may never arrive, and founders confused enthusiasm for execution capacity. Look at the numbers, and they tell a fascinating, slightly uncomfortable story. Research suggests that roughly 9% of successfully funded Kickstarter projects fail to deliver their rewards at all. That means for every 10 campaigns that hit their goal and popped champagne, roughly one of them left their backers holding nothing but a screenshot of a thank you email. And yet, the counterpoint is real and worth sitting with. Some of the most iconic consumer products of the last decade would simply not exist without crowdfunding. The Pebble smartwatch, the Oculus Rift in its early form, Cards Against Humanity's expansion packs. These weren't just funded, they were validated in a way no focus group could replicate. There's something beautifully raw about strangers spending their own money because they believe in your thing. Here's the historical cycle you need to understand though. Every new funding mechanism goes through the same arc of euphoria, exploitation, disillusionment, and then quiet maturation. We saw it with angel investing in the 90s, we saw it with crowdfunding in the 2010s, and we'll see it again with whatever comes next, because human behavior around money and novelty is remarkably consistent. The biggest misconception people carry into a crowdfunding campaign is that it's primarily a funding tool. It's not, or at least it shouldn't be treated as one. It is, at its highest and best use, a marketing machine that happens to produce revenue. And the founders who understand that distinction build campaigns that serve them long after the 30 days are over. The practical lesson from the campaigns that actually worked is almost boring in its simplicity. They spent months building an audience before they ever launched, and then they treated the campaign itself like a media event, not a vending machine. 80 to 90% of successful Kickstarter projects hit their funding goal within the first 72 hours, which tells you everything you need to know about where the real work happens. So the honest, unromantic answer to whether crowdfunding validates demand is it validates a very specific kind of demand from a very specific kind of early adopter under very specific emotional conditions created by scarcity and urgency. That's useful data, but it's not a business plan. And treating it like one is where founders get into serious trouble. What it does brilliantly is force clarity. You cannot run a successful crowdfunding campaign without being able to explain what you're building, why it matters, and why someone should trust you to deliver it. And most founders are genuinely not ready to answer those three questions until the campaign makes them. The discipline the format demands is arguably worth more than the capital it produces. So approach it with your eyes open, your expectations calibrated, and your fulfillment logistics figured out before you hit publish, not after. Discipline in how you size the campaign goal, patience in how you build the pre-launch audience, and consistency in how you communicate with backers. Those are the variables that determine whether this tool works for you or against you. The irony is that the founders who least need crowdfunding, the ones who already have an audience, a story, and operational clarity, are the ones most likely to run campaigns that fund in hours. And that's not a reason to be cynical. It's a reason to do the work before the campaign, not during it. At the end of the day, crowdfunding is a mirror. It reflects exactly how prepared, how clear, and how connected you already are. And the market doesn't lie, even when it's being sold to. Whether you're validating a product idea, a real estate project, or a contracting business concept, we can help you think through the right path forward. Check out our links in the description below to get started with real estate investing, home contracting, work, and connecting with lenders who actually understand builders.